Okay, great. I'm being told to go to the hotline. Best show, hi.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Are we on the air?
We are.
Fantastic. I wanted to tell you about our movie variety show that's coming to town, a lot of towns.
Well, let me introduce you first.
Oh, you didn't do that already?
I was just about to.
Okay.
I have on the hotline. He is a film expert and historian, and he is an actor, yes,
and a critic,
and what is the are you also a host of it? I always get confused.
Yep.
I'm
now a host of On Cinema at the Cinema for season 11.
Yes, of On Cinema at the Cinema, we have Gregg Turkington here.
Hey guys.
How are you, Greg?
I'm great. I'm really excited. I've been going through a lot of my movie books and talking to some of my researchers and things to get the information all gathered up for this On Cinema Live show that we're bringing, just to make sure that it's information that nobody has already or has heard before. So it's all new stuff.
Because On Cinema at the Cinema, your long-running show that you do with Tim Heidecker is hitting...
Well, we'll see if he's back this season, but
true.
I think he will be.
It's hitting the road.
Yeah, it's hitting the road. And so finally, a chance to get live film criticism of movies that are coming out that weekend. So there's no lag time at all.
Wow.
It's going to be up-to-the-minute film criticism and expertise and facts and trivia and just games, all kinds of things. And then we're also going to do some film lectures on some films from the past, popcorn classics, some of the old actors of yesteryear, and that type of thing. So it's a pretty jam-packed night.
Do you feel like this evening of it's a celebration of movies, that's fair to say?
Yep, definitely. My part of the show is.
Sure. Do you feel like it is... Do you have to be like a movie fanatic to be able to appreciate that portion of the show, or is it?
Yes. I don't want. If you don't like movies, do something else. You know, because I don't want to be around people that have a bad attitude.
Sure.
We're getting into some pretty deep information, and somebody that shows up who's more into TV shows and sitcoms and that sort of thing is probably just going to have a bad time, and I would prefer not to see them in the audience.
Yes. I'm being told to just also to do line 1 here. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hello?
What was the deal? Hello?
Hello?
Who's this?
This is Tom.
Hey, Tom, it's Tim Heidecker. I'm calling from a campaign event here in San Bernardino. I don't have a lot of time. I'm about to go speak in front of about 100 people. So I wanted to just call and say thank you for having me.
Well,
also that we're going to be performing on the East Coast, doing a number of shows for the On Cinema experience. Not my top priority. My top priority right now is right here in San Bernardino and the good people here. As you know, I'm running for district attorney, and it's going very well.
That's true.
So
Greg,
is Greg anything else?
Well, is Greg?
Sorry?
Greg, are you on the line? Hold on. Greg, can you hear me? Hold on. I'm adding Greg. Greg?
Yes. Hey.
I'm trying to figure out how do I lock it, Pat? I press it twice probably. There we go. I think can you both hear each other now?
Hello?
Hello. Yes, hi.
You can. No. Okay. You can hear each other?
Yes.
Okay, I just needed to make sure that you have to press it twice. So I have Tim Heidecker and Gregg Turkington, the co-stars and co-hosts of On Cinema at the Cinema, which is a long-running film criticism show that is now hitting the road and will be touring the East Coast.
Thank you. And I'm out here, as I just mentioned. I'm out here in San Bernardino. If anyone wants to come out, I'm speaking tonight in about 15 minutes. So I'm just about to speak here for the second time this week. and I'm excited to be out here. And thanks, and I'll send it over to Greg.
So this is coming. Let me before Greg, we get to you, Greg. You now have thrown your hat in the political ring, Tim.
That's correct. Yes,
because you feel, if I'm piecing this together correctly, on season 10 of On Cinema at the Cinema, you had the final episode. You had a little bit of a meltdown, I guess is fair. Is that fair to say?
I'm not. No, I wouldn't clarify. I wouldn't classify it as that. And
as he does every
I'm
season.
not looking to relive. I'm not looking to go down memory lane with you here, Tom. Just want to share.
Okay, well, it's
my
hardly
excitement and my zest for the good people of San Bernardino who need change.
It's 3
and
months
they need
ago,
change
though.
From the outside, and the Rossetti the rat here has not been cutting it, I'm afraid. And so we have an opportunity to change the clock, to change the future.
Which
this,
is the
this
guy
community. And by the way, excuse me, crime has gone through the roof under Rossetti. You can look at the numbers. And I'm here to switch that, and I'm actually
arson went up. Arson went up about 500%
at a rate of 100%.
You burned down.
So
you burned down my film archive.
Greg. I don't appreciate you putting me on the phone with him.
That's why crime
Shut
went
up and hang up on him, or I hang up.
Which is a crime in San Bernardino.
I'm not hanging up on
arson rate.
I'm not going to listen. This is a gotcha moment. It's an embarrassment for your show. You did not clarify with me that this rat not Rossetti himself, but Greg, I'm speaking of here, would be on the call. And this is shame on you and shame on your listeners for supporting you. And I thought there was going to be an honest conversation about the issues, and you lied to me and you lied to your audience.
Oh, I didn't. I did not lie to you or lie to you. You are being very disingenuous. You're being very disingenuous with the term. This is
now you're making enemies with someone that's going to hold a public office.
In California, at best.
You're in big trouble.
At best.
Tim, you're not going to win because you don't even live in San Bernardino. They're not going to let you serve, even if you did get the votes, which you never will.
That's ridiculous.
You don't even live there.
That's ridiculous. And you clowns can talk all you want about movies and slander me all night long. I have work to do. I have to go speak to the good people of San Bernardino. Goodbye.
So what is a live show, Tim? Tim? I know he's still there. There's no way he can't give up the platform. There's a bluff. Wait, he is gone. He did hang up. Okay, I guess I was wrong.
Of course he did. Because he's not stable.
All right, so he's running for district attorney now. Basically, Greg is still on the line here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. If you're putting together a 2.5-hour touring variety show that has scenes reenacted from great movies, has lectures about great movies, has screenings during the course of the 2.5 hours of scenes from great movies and that type of thing, and then live criticism, you should be preparing for that, not preparing to run for district attorney when you don't know anything about the law. So fortunately, I'm in control of about 50% of the live show, which I can guarantee will be fantastic. I don't want to give away all the stuff we've got, but let me put it this way. If you've ever had questions about the movies, how they're made, running times, studios, stars, all those questions will be answered during my segments.
Sure.
As for his, I don't know what he's going to do because he's not preparing.
And
he's dropping the ball.
I will extend to Tim, if he is listening, he is welcome to call up, but it is Greg is on the show now. This is not an either or thing. I thought it was a both thing because that's what we've done in the past. It has not been some sort of either Tim or Greg. The two of you would come on together because you do the show together.
Well, some of us are erratic. Some of us are not trustworthy, and I'm not talking about myself. I mean, it's supposed to be both of us promoting these live shows, which I'm very proud of the work that I put into and some of the props. And, we're selling at the merchandise booth. We're actually selling some of the discard and duplicate VHS tapes from the Victorville Film Archive, which are being made available to the public for the first time in history.
Now, are these the movies that were a part of the fire, or are these the
No.
movies?
We rebuilt after that, and we had such good response, and I've been doing so much work going into the communities and acquiring collections that in some cases, you end up with 12 copies of Titanic. Well, we should probably have at least 10 in the archives to make sure that they're all in good working order, but that leaves 2 extra copies. And so what we do is we label them with the official Victorville Film Archive seal of approval, and we put them out for sale. And that way people have certified copies that are part of history, that are taken off the shelves at the VFA and put on the shelf in your home. So that's the kind of thing we're selling. We've got Victorville Film Archive hats and pins, and of course the information which is coming straight out of my mouth and into your ears from the stage.
Yes, to talk about the Victorville Film Archive, which was a VHS-centric film archive. Well, it was but there was, for people who aren't up to speed, you were building this archive, and then there was a fire.
2 fires.
2 fires caused by
a crazy man.
Yes.
Who should not be a district attorney because he's an arsonist.
Sure, yes.
And I have evidence of that. His fingerprints are all over the scene.
Now, is there a film that is like the holy grail for the Victorville Film Archive?
We have it. Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually tens of thousands of holy grails, and we have them all. That's why it's the biggest film archive in all of North America.
I mean more just a film that you would just love to have in the archive that you're still searching for.
Yeah, I'd like to get Sherlock Gnomes, but that hasn't been released. That was just in the theaters. And those are really the holy grails, is movies that are fresh and new, and you just got to wait till they come out, and then we add them to the collection.
Sure, because you had reviewed Sherlock Gnomes on cinema, and you were very upset about a component of that film, about an element of the making of that film, namely the director of the film was something that was
not Tim Burton.
Yes.
Yeah, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy. And I sent a letter to Tim Burton complaining, and he wrote back and explained, and then I wrote back to him to challenge him a little bit more because I felt that his explanation as to why he didn't direct Sherlock Gnomes was lacking and didn't really address the issue there. And then he didn't write back, but the first letter that he wrote mysteriously ends up stolen from the set of On Cinema, and somebody's selling it on eBay. Well, I had one of my buffs bid for it with a false bid, and guess who was selling it?
Tim. Yeah.
To finance this DA run, because it, a legitimate Tim Burton autograph on Dumbo letterhead is going to be worth some money. So we put in I guess you call it a shill bid, $200, and won the auction, and then get this, I don't know, it was about a week later, finally an email comes in that's very illiterate from Tim wanting this money sent by Western Union or whatever to get this autograph, which, as I say, he stole. I haven't confronted him about it yet, but I'm going to. And that's a guy who's running for district attorney.
It's very, it's very troubling, I guess is a fair way to say it.
And I've got some bad news, too, is that I've got some information that he's bringing to these On Cinema shows a couple of people that are, I guess you'd call them cinema's least wanted. They're guys from his horrible band, The Car. And so he's worked some musical component into the show that I have no control over. I would say this much, that if you got to go to the bathroom during the show, that might be a good time to do it when Dakar is playing, because I guess they're going to do some songs that nobody wants. If it was up to me, we'd have all my segments for the first hour and 15 minutes, and then everyone can leave, and then you got his. But unfortunately, we have to rotate one of my segments, one of his segments, one of mine, one of his, and that sort of thing. So in a lot of ways, I wouldn't even recommend the night at all, because there's going to be some pretty down moments.
So are you guys not sharing the stage?
Well, we do review the current movies, and we also have a Stump the Buff segment where basically audience members, and actually this is a good chance to tell your audience, come up with the trickiest movie trivia that you can, and you write it on a card, and Joe Estevez draws these cards at random from a box, and I will answer the questions, and I will get them right. And if I get them wrong, it's a $5,000 gift card from Carrabba's restaurant. And we did these a couple times so far, and no one has been able to stump me and get that $5,000 gift card.
Wow, a $5,000 gift card for
Yep.
Carrabba's.
From Carrabba's.
It's just a good place to eat. This show has no sponsors. Carrabba's, that's a pretty good. That if you could win that, that's a pretty good night out.
It's a lot of meals.
Yeah,
that's like 500 meals probably.
Yeah.
So you could eat there every night for a year, or you could do lunch or breakfast, or I don't know if they have breakfast. But my point is that, take some time and research and come up with something that you think will stump me. And for the price of the ticket, you could walk away with $5,000 in food money and fun money.
Sure. And now, what are the dates for the tour? Do you have the dates? Is that?
Well, it all starts at the end of September in Silver Spring, Maryland. I think it might be September 23rd or 24th. I don't know.
It's September. Is that? Oh, I'm looking here. I actually just have it. Silver Spring, Maryland. The Fillmore Silver Spring, presented by Cricket Wireless, September 25th, which is a Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday. And then we go to Philadelphia, starring Tom Hanks, who won the Oscar not only for that, but for Forrest Gump the year before. That's on the Wednesday night. You'd think, where are they going to play on the Thursday night? In Forrest Gumpville, New York, to follow up Philadelphia. But really, you would do that the night before, because Forrest Gump was in 1980 or 1993, I think, and then Philadelphia he won in 1994. And then we're doing Boston on the Friday night. Lots of great movies filmed in Boston. And then Brooklyn, New York, which, of course, is the filming location of Saturday Night Fever, starring John Travolta and Karen Lynn Gorney. And we've got that on the Friday and the Saturday night, 3 shows in Brooklyn, New York.
That's very exciting, and that's the tour.
That's it, yeah. And so people are coming from all over the world, movie buffs and things, coming from big movie centers and movie towns. People from London, England, where so many movies were shot, and a lot of other cities coming out to get this information and to purchase some of these videotapes that we'll have on hand. So it's it's going to be good.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. And I gotta tell you something. If you ever had a little bit of curiosity about what the post Oh God careers were of the cast of Oh God, I will be answering that on stage.
That's the George Burns, John Denver movie
from 1977.
Mm-hmm. Now, Greg,
and Miss Terry Garr, by the way.
That's right.
Also, who went on to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That's right. Greg.
Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Who later directed AI, Artificial Intelligence, and E.T.
And E.T.,
Extraterrestrial.
Yes.
And is currently working on a remake of West Side Story.
It's very exciting.
And they still are casting that one, and I'll be excited to see who they get.
This is very exciting. Do you feel, Greg, that people who come to this, what's the fear you have of what Tim could possibly do at these shows? Is there a worst case version of what could happen with Tim?
Yeah, that he shows up. That would be the worst case.
Okay.
Version, or that he starts talking about this Whale Man movie that he's delusionally believing is going to happen, which is never going to happen, but he won't stop talking about Whale Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, a spin-off. Well, you've seen the original Ant-Man, of course.
Of course.
And then, which, I played Dale in it, which was like kind of the key role of the movie.
A classic, because it was because movies, a big part of movies is the motivating of the main character in a movie.
Right.
It's very important. And your character...
Or the creating.
Yes.
Creating the character. Like Frankenstein created Frankenstein's monster. Dale created Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, because you drove him to seek... you drove him out of the Baskin-Robbins that he was working at. And and then shortly thereafter, one thing leads to another, and then he's Ant-Man.
And there was a script prepared for a second Ant-Man movie, which is going to be called Ant-Man 2. And somebody at Marvel, who I'm sure has lost their job now, it turns out had not put in the copyright forms for that character, for the Ant-Man character. And so, for a brief period of a couple of months, the Ant-Man franchise and all the characters associated with it fell into the public domain. And that's when some renegade, rogue filmmakers threw together this hastily prepared, I wouldn't call it a sequel. I'd call it a knockoff or a ripoff called Ant-Man versus the Wasp.
No,
and
Tim is in that.
Is he, though? Because he says he's in it, and part of me believes it because he paid $10,000 to have a tiny role in Fantastic Four, so I know he's willing to do that kind of thing. But then I also think it's possible that the guy who looks like Tim on the screen isn't Tim at all. Tim went to see this knockoff movie, this fake Ant-Man movie, and said, that guy looks like me. I'm just going to pretend it is me and get all the glory from it.
I've seen both movies, and I have to say I appreciated your performance in Ant-Man, but look, I have my own thing with these movies. Because the director,
I know you do,
was Peyton Reed when you worked on the Ant-Man movie. I shot a scene for that movie and was cut out of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then I filmed a scene for the second movie, which I was told, which was also directed by Peyton Reed. I know you say it's a novel.
No, he didn't do the second one.
Okay, I was pretty sure it was him.
No.
And I was
the second one's not official.
Okay, I was told my scene was uncuttable, and then it was cut from the movie.
Well, the good news is that when Peyton Reed does do an actual Ant-Man 2, and not one of these knockoff guys doing it, I'm sure that at that point that you would get offered a role.
Sure.
You would end up in the real Ant-Man 2, but you're lucky if you're not in Ant-Man versus the Wasp, because it's not really an Ant-Man movie.
It's not canon,
they took some.
Then.
I'll tell you something. If you look at the DVD of Ant-Man, and there's some deleted scenes at the end, take a look at those deleted scenes, because what these rogue filmmakers did was take those deleted scenes, string them together, and dub in some new dialogue, and then get some animator or something to do a few pictures, and then film some other unrelated scenes and piece that all together. And they put that out there as Ant-Man versus the Wasp, but it's not.
Okay,
it's not Peyton Reed, and Peyton Reed is furious about this, and he will do a sequel. And I'm sure you'll be in it, and I'm sure I'll be in it too, and I'm sure Tim won't be in it. And I think Tim being associated with this con of a movie is par for the course.
Well, look, I am not the movie aficionado that you are, Greg, and I'm going to defer to you on this.
Okay.
I must.
Good choice.
Yeah. I will say, the end of September, if you're on the East Coast, on cinema, at the cinema, the long-running hit movie criticism review show, Expertise will be live, and people should check it out. If you're in a city where Greg and Tim are performing, you should definitely check it out. It'll be worth your time. And What's coming up? Oh, can you tell me what's up with Mark Prosh? How is Mark?
Well, he's not well, but he's he's breathing, and his eyes, you see some fluttering in the eyelids and things like that.
Because he was severely injured in the Oscar show.
Yeah, Tim. We were doing a tribute to Jaws, which was a great idea, but unfortunately, rather than get actual scuba equipment for Mark, who was playing one of the deep sea divers from Jaws, Tim got some non-working prop from some prop shop or something, where the actual oxygen tank was filled with feathers or filled with cement. I don't know what it was filled with, but not oxygen. So then when they put Mark in this getup, of course, then there's no air for him to breathe, and he just sat there and basically suffocating until somebody noticed, and at that point, paramedics were called. He was pronounced dead, but they did resuscitate his heartbeat, but I don't know that his mind is, I don't know that his mind can be restored.
Well,
we're hopeful, and he's got a lot of care, a lot of people rooting for him, and he's got 24-hour care from a very good nurse and a whole team there, and so, thanks to state of California's Medicare system. So he's in good hands, but whether or not he'll be doing his WC Fields, I sure hope so.
That someday we'll see him back out there doing the things that we love him for.
It's heartbreaking, and I would love to see him back in that getup. We've got his whole WC Fields getup. I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping it,
Sure.
and keeping it warm for him.
Yeah. Now one final thing, and then I'll let you go, Greg. If there was a message you could send, because when On Cinema started, you and Tim were, I don't know if you were friends but you were definitely. It was not as contentious as it has become. And it seems like maybe the lines of communication are a little limited. What would be a message you would send to Tim?
Stop doing music. Stop practicing law, if you would call that what he's doing, and watch some movies. If you're going to review movies, you need to see the movies. If you're going to have a movie review show, you need to care about movies. And I've invited him over, not recently because I don't want to have anything to do with him, but in the past I've invited him over so many times to watch movies and to educate him about the history of cinema. And, he's more interested in vaping and hanging out with losers like Axiom and Manuel and those guys, and not actually coming by to check out some of these films that I've got in the archives. I mean, to have a friend that has the biggest collection and archive of movies in all of North America, and then not to take advantage of that, I think is really pretty sad.
Yeah, it seems like it hurts your feelings.
It does, and but it hurts him more than it hurts me, because I'm still watching the movies and having a great time doing it.
That's true.
He could be enjoying them too. If you had a friend, Tom, who had the ability to watch any movie at a given notice, to put it on for you to watch, wouldn't you spend most of your time at that friend's house watching movies?
I would spend some time with that friend, yes.
Okay. Because, I can call any movie up very quickly. Mm-hmm. Within 5 minutes, if you're naming a movie, I go through the boxes and pull it out and put it on. Mm-hmm. And that's a rare kind of friend to have.
I'm looking forward to the live shows. I think they will be very telling for the future of On Cinema.
Well, I can vouch for half the show, and I can vouch for it strongly. And the other half, you're on your own.
Okay. Well, Gregg Turkington, thank you for calling in, and thank you to Tim Heidecker, who only called in for a few minutes. And
thanks to you, Tom. And don't worry about that Ant-Man thing. You dodged a bullet not being in the fake Ant-Man.
Right.
And when they do the real sequel, there's a spot for you,
okay.
I guarantee you.
I'm very excited for it. Well, Greg, thank you for checking in, and we will see you soon.